Alright Reddit, what is your all-time best drunken story? I had an evaluation at work about 10 years ago. I was really worried about it, so didn't drink for about a week before so as to be on top form. I absolutely aced it, came out with flying colors. The boss took a few of us out for dinner. The night should have come to an end when he went home at about 11 p.m. but being nicely pissed, me and a mate stayed out, hit a club. Anyway, I wake up the next day in a shithole of a town in Malaysia with no recollection of how I got there. My mate was nowhere to be seen. I had no money and no passport. This was 11 a.m. I only just kept my job, still at the same company, but had real trouble getting back to Singapore without a passport. Had to get someone to Western Union money to me and go to the British consulate in Kuala Lumpur and tell them I lost my passport so I could get a new one and back to Singapore. I still have no idea what happened, as my mate says he left me at about 2 a.m. 70. Friends say they know a great beach we can camp on, secluded, out of the way, etc. Turns out it requires a 2-mile walk along a popular trail that starts in the city, and then you do a mountain goat impression 200 feet down a clay cliff. I bring a cooler with 8 liters of home-brewed wine. Drinking. Nakedness. Drinking. Marshmallow roasting. Drinking. Drinking. 5:30 a.m., time to go home. Let me paint you a picture. My girlfriend is cute as ever, well put together, same as she always is. She is walking our dog, who is adorable and behaving well and is petted by some 20 to 30 joggers and cyclists that pass by. Following closely behind is a man who has obviously fallen on hard times. He is wearing only boxer briefs, an unbuttoned fleck-torn German army jacket, and boot on his left foot. 75% of him is caked in a thick layer of clay. He is struggling with a limp caused by wearing one boot, and falling down the 200-foot-tall embankment. Twice. He is balancing a very large cooler on his head. He has either a grin or a concussion, but the clay makes it hard to tell. This man is me. From what I've been told, my only regret is that I was too hammered the next morning to remember the looks I was getting. One man began laughing hard, got off of his bicycle, and shook my hand. TL. Dr. 20 to 30 early morning joggers/cyclists saw an indecent zombie with a cooler on its head limping home. Was hammered with 3 friends a few years back and got in a scrap with some random guys. Cops broke it up and told us if they saw us again that night we'd be spending the night in jail. Went back to the bar street and got caught by the same cop who sure enough threw us all in the wagon. When we got to lockup they had run out of cells. It was St. Paddy's Day, so they threw us all together in a communal cell with one other random dude. We all stripped naked and started beatboxing and dancing in the cell, and this random guy joined us like it was totally natural. In the morning they let every single person out before processing us. When we finally got through, the 2 cops at the desk were kind of smirking, and then one of them just blurted out, "So what was up with that homoerotic dance party last night, boys? The whole crew was watching you from back here." Best $65 ticket I ever spent. I got wasted one night and stayed at a friend's house. On the bus home the next day I was still pretty drunk, but also hungover too. The worst, most dangerous combination ever. The vibrations of the bus didn't help the situation. I suddenly felt the urge to spew, so I jumped up, and as I opened my mouth to ask the driver to stop, I vomited. I projectile vomited all over an old lady who was sat in one of those seats that face sideways. The foul odor was instantaneous. She looked utterly distraught. There were many people on the bus, half of them gagged, and a small child started crying. The driver stopped, in utter disbelief I assume, and I just pressed the emergency exit button and got the hell off. Luckily it was really heavily raining, so the rain washed away most of the puke on me, but I can't imagine the horrors that I left on that bus. I walked home, quite a distance, in the rain, and when I got home, I laughed. A lot. I'm a bad person, but that was so ridiculous I just had to. I'd love to see if that bus had CCTV on. It was a good 4 years ago though, so I'm confined to the fact I'll never see that footage of me violating an old woman. Edit, grammar. During college, me and a few friends went out drinking at a college bar. It started slow with a few beers, some drinks, eventually escalating to someone, probably me, deciding that we were going to do shots of tequila. The next thing I know, I wake up in some girl's apartment, socks and underwear nowhere to be seen. After about 10 minutes of stealthily trying to find my underwear, I decide to go commando in my jeans and sneak out. Turns out I was in a city about 70 kilometers north of the city I live in. Apparently we met some girls going to college in that town and decided that it was a great idea to do the 1-hour train ride there to do an impromptu field trip. When my friends left, I was locked in a bathroom with the girl whose apartment I woke up in, so they decide to leave me. If you take away anything from this story, it should be that riding the train for an hour while going commando in jeans is not a great idea. TL, Dr. Drunk Me has some serious rapport with the ladies.